Today, I'm going to show you from start to finish how to store water for emergencies and answer some of the common questions people usually have about water storage. I'm going to be using these 30-gallon tanks that emergencywatertanks.com sent me, but the same process applies regardless of what container that you use. Now, water is probably one of the most important things that you can store for an emergency, but it's also one of the biggest challenges, believe it or not. It takes up a ton of room, it's incredibly heavy, and there are all kinds of questions about how you're supposed to store it. Now, I have a few different ways that I store water, and these 30-gallon tanks are going to give me a little bit more flexibility than I currently have, and I'll show you why that matters here in just a second. Just make sure it's HDPE and it's got the number 2 on it, and make sure it's food safe. A lot of people reuse the food grade buckets, the barrels, the ICB totes, and things like that all the time. But if they've had something else in those, chemicals, fuels, or pesticides, you wouldn't want to use those even though they are rated that HDPE number 2. Another example of containers that aren't rated for long-term storage that are those HDPE number 2 is a gallon milk jug. Those just aren't thick enough to use as water storage. Now, this doesn't mean that you specifically need to go buy water storage containers like these 30-gallon ones or the blue containers, but they are going to make everything just a whole lot easier because you don't have to worry about what was in them in the past and if you've cleaned them enough to get everything out. That's why I tend to stick with containers that are made for water storage specifically. Now, the 5-gallon ones are really popular in preparedness. They're easy to move around. You can store quite a bit more water than, say, with the water bottles. But a lot of these are made in China, and the ones from Walmart, although they're really cheap, they are really cheap as well. They're really thin plastic, and these other ones, just about everything. I don't know if there's many made in the United States today, and that is one thing that really stood out to me about emergency water tanks is because they are a family-owned business. They're based in Utah, and they manufacture these right here in America, and that is pretty hard to find these days. Anything made in America, I try to support those businesses. Now, with these larger tanks, the one thing you need to keep in mind is that if anything over 15 gallons, once you fill that up, it's basically where it is at that point. But there are trade-offs between the 5-gallon ones, the 30-gallon ones. They even sell 55-gallon containers up to like 300-gallon containers as well. That is a whole lot of water in one spot. But that's why I've decided that I'm going to use both of these in conjunction with each other. Actually, all three, my well pump, the 5-gallon jugs, and these 30-gallon jugs, because that gives me a lot of options in an emergency. But these 30-gallon tanks are sort of an interesting middle ground because they are still going to be heavy. It's 250 or so pounds when they're full, so you're not going to be able to move them. But as far as filling them, moving them around when they're empty, and cleaning them out if you need to, these are a whole lot easier to manipulate and move than the really large ones. And it's going to have less of a footprint than the 5-gallon tanks. And that's why I was interested in checking these out. These are 21 by 21 by 21, and they stack really securely on top of each other. It's a really well thought out design. It's got the large opening on the top to fill this, so you don't have to worry about splashing all over the place. It's got a valve on the lid that releases pressure too. Say you're draining the bottom one, you won't be able to open up that lid. So this little valve right there releases that pressure and keeps that flow running. It's also got a 3/4-inch lead-free brass spigot with a replaceable bulkhead, and it's something that's metal is something you just don't see anymore. Again, family-owned business made in America right here. You just don't see the metal parts. Usually it's the plastic, cheap plastic that's going to break off. And the reason I mention all of this about the design is because this is something that you don't have to worry about putting inside your home. And I'm going to set it up right now in this video outside in my garage, but it may move inside into my basement as well. And with a container that's holding this amount of water, you really want to make sure it's well made and it's going to stand up, and you're not going to end up with 50, 100 gallons of water all over your basement floor. With a container this size, and any of your containers, it's important you think about where you're going to put them before you fill them up, because the 5-gallon tank, sure, you can move those around, but you're not going to want to once those are already full. These ones, you definitely have to have a plan in place, because once you put 30 gallons of water in here, it's done. It's staying where it is until you drain that water. Some options you have as far as storing water is you can put it directly on the floor. As long as it's not concrete, you can raise it up off the floor with 2x4s if you want. With containers like these, it becomes a little bit difficult because the spigots are right at the bottom, but I will go over some options for that. You've also got properly rated heavy-duty shelving, the dunnage racks, and these would work great, although some of them are only 8 to 12 inches off the ground, so you wouldn't be able to fill a container with it being that high off the ground. You've also got concrete blocks where you could support the platform with some, 2x4s. This would be really cheap and simple, although you've got to make sure this is pretty sturdy if you're talking 500 pounds of water. What I did was built a load-bearing stand, which will handle at least 500 pounds. And I'm not going to go through the build in this video, but I'll leave a link below. I've got another video where I showed you exactly how to build one of these stands. And this stand is 24 by 24, so just a little bit wider than these tanks. Now, I mentioned you could put these on the floor as well. Say you prop them up with 2x4s, or you use those concrete bricks. There's also 12-volt portable RV pumps that you can use to pump the water out of these tanks. Even though I've got this 15-inch high platform, I may end up getting one of these 12-volt pumps because they make things a whole lot easier, and I want to test them out. There's only $60 or so, but you could use that option as well. So there are other options other than building a shelf yourself or putting it on the ground. You just need to think through all of these things before you fill those water storage containers up. And that goes for the very large ones to the smaller ones as well. Now, one last thing about where to store these, and then we'll move on to cleaning these and filling these up, but you want to make sure it's in a cool, dark place. Mine is not, the garage where I'm going to put these for now is not necessarily ideal, because while my garage is insulated and it never gets below freezing and it never gets really hot, it does get to, around 80, 85 degrees. And it will get to, 40, and really cold snaps, it may even get down less than that. So I'm going to be watching how everything does through the winter and then late summer where we're at right now. But you can also put them inside. I've got a spot inside in my basement where I could take this rack and put these down here as well, which may be a better spot because this is a cool, dark place. You're not going to have to worry about sunlight. You're not going to have to worry about temperature fluctuations. So inside your home or inside a temperature controlled area is ideal. And if you are storing it in something like this in your garage, you also want to make sure it's away from gasoline and chemicals and something that could leach those smells at the very least in, and it's away from those in case there's spills and anything like that. So just make sure you have a good plan going in about where you're going to put these, how you're going to set them up, and how you're going to rotate through them. And I will get into the shelf life here in just a minute. But let's talk about cleaning and sanitizing these, because this is, these are brand new tanks, right? They still need to be cleaned because you've got the manufacturing process and you just really don't know what's inside of these. So just take a little bit of dish soap and some water. And what I do is with these tanks, that's why I said this size is pretty easy. You can actually reach in there and sort of slosh everything around. This doesn't have to be super detailed, and you don't have to get every little nook and cranny and every square inch. You just want to make sure that the soap contacts all the surfaces and you get all that stuff that may be in there from the manufacturing process out. Now, like I said, these are brand new and they're probably pretty clean already, but since I'm going to be drinking the water out of these tanks, I want to take the extra few minutes just to make sure that everything's good to go before I store these. And then you want to wash these out, drain them, and rinse them really well. You could let them dry, or you could just, rinse it out with your garden hose, which is what I did. And then you want to sanitize them. And with this is just putting a little bit of bleach in there and then letting that sit. The CDC recommends like a quart of water and then a teaspoon of bleach. I just put a little bit in here, make sure and slosh it around, make sure it contacts all of the sides and every spot in here, turn it upside down. and make sure it contacts all the surfaces for about 30 seconds or so to make sure everything's sanitized. Then you can rinse this out again, or you can just dump the solution out and then let that air dry. After this is dry, you can start filling this container, and you want to treat the water while you're filling these up. There are a couple of different options for this. You've got the bleach, the non-scented bleach that you could get at places like Walmart, or you've got the Aquamira, which is the 2-part solution, but that's a whole lot more expensive. I think one of those that treats 30 gallons is $15. So it's a whole lot more cost effective to use bleach. One is not better than the other. It's not going to make your water, quote unquote, last longer than the other one. It's just a little bit more convenient with that Aquamira and easier to measure out. But bleach works just as well, as long as it's not the splashless kind or the scented kind, just plain old bleach. And the CDC recommends 7 drops per gallon, which is why that, like when I said the Aquamira is a little bit more convenient, because getting exactly 7 drops can be a little bit tough. But for these 30-gallon containers, it's a whole lot easier, because that means I need 2 teaspoons. And if you've got the 5-gallon container, you're talking about 1/3 of a teaspoon for 5 gallons right there. And what I did with these tanks was just added a little bit of water, a couple of gallons, and then I sloshed that around a little bit, make sure that's mixed up, and then just continue filling until it's all the way full. And a question I get all the time is, does the water need to actually be treated, and does it actually go bad? And for me, I have well water, and it's really clean well water, but it's still well water. So I want to make sure that I'm treating this, whether it's with that Aquamira or a small amount of bleach, because it's not treated. Municipal water or city water is treated quite a bit, actually. So you could store that just right out of the tap in these buckets without having to go through this step right here. Some people choose to add, the bleach anyway, but it's not absolutely necessary. If you are on well water, though, it is absolutely necessary, or water that you're not sure of. I would treat that just to be safe. And as far as water shelf life, in the garage where I'm going to store this initially, I may switch that out. The CDC says every 6 months or so. I've got water that I've had stored for 2 years down in my basement. I've cracked it open before doing this test, and it's absolutely just fine. It does get a little bit flat, but you just shake it up a little bit and it, comes back to life relatively easy. The reason they recommend that, though, is because if there are contaminants or something that you didn't notice, that could build and grow in there. So it's just like every CDC recommendation. It's better safe than sorry, I suppose. In the garage, I might change this out once every year if I don't use it very often, because of the heat changes and the fluctuations. In my basement, where it's 65, 70 degrees all year long, I'm not too worried about it. It's stuck in a closet, it's in the perfect spot, so I'm not too worried about it. Water doesn't necessarily expire. Even if it does go bad, it starts growing microorganisms or anything in it, all you need to do is just clean it again, put it through a filter, and it's going to be fine. The earth has been filtering water for millions of years, and so water never goes bad. All right, so once the bottom one is full, you're talking about water weighs about 8.3 pounds per gallon. So at 30 gallons, I've got 250 pounds of water in this one tank right here. And this shelf holds it up really well. Then I filled up the top tank using the same method as I did with the last one. And these tanks really, I can't see any difference from when they're full or when they're empty. There's no bulging. There's no leakage out of the spigots. I've had these sitting in there for a few days. There's no leakage anywhere else. So these are very well made. And dispensing the water, the flow rate is pretty good too. It's about a gallon a minute, or maybe even less than that. As you get lower, say the tank is completely full, you're going to get a really good flow rate. As you get lower, say 15 gallons in there or so, that's going to slow down just because gravity and just because the pressure isn't in there in that tank. That's where that 12-volt pump would come into play, though. You'd be able to get everything out, and you'd be able to do it really quickly towards the end of that container's water storage. But it comes out really quickly if all you're doing is transferring, maybe 5 gallons or so to a bucket or to one of these blue containers. And as you can see on mine, I've got it hooked up to a little short 3-foot hose garden hose sort of extension thing, and it works perfectly because it's long enough to go from that top tank down to one of these buckets. And I can also use it with this bottom tank since it's 15 inches off the ground. So with these tanks, like I said, I'm going to keep this out in my garage right now. I may even insulate this little cubby hole that it's in, this little notch in between my closet and my hot water tank, and insulate that a little bit. I may even, during the colder months, put a blanket over, or even, the hotter months. But it is really a nice tank. It's really a cool size to put, in your basement, in your garage, be able to set it in there. And it's a whole lot of water. You're talking about 60 gallons of water, which for 2 people or even a family of 3 or 4, you're talking a week or 2 at the very least. So this is a really good sort of starting point as far as water storage goes. And for some people, this may be the only solution that you have available, this 60 gallons worth. But they are really nice tanks. They are constructed really well. They are designed really well. And the biggest thing that stands out to me is they are made in America, which means they are going to be higher quality than some of these cheap Amazon, Walmart knockoff, made in China water containers, the ones that are just thick enough and just blue enough to make you think that they're going to last for a while. But after a couple of years, you're going to be disappointed. With these tanks right here, you really are getting a quality product. And even if it's only one of these 30-gallon tanks, if you've got a home, you can probably find a good spot to put one of these somewhere in your basement, maybe even in a closet, because they're only 21 by 21, or you can figure out a spot to put these, and this will hold the water and you won't have to worry about it like you might with one of these cheaper containers. So whether you use these larger 30-gallon or 50-gallon containers, whether you use the 5-gallon containers, or even just, water bottles, 2-liter bottles with some water in those, the important part is just having the water in the first place and having the water before you need it. Because unlike food, power stations, generators, and most of the other stuff that we prep, water is something you're just not going to last very long without. Something that is really maybe the most important to have in preparedness. At any rate, if you have any questions, any comments, anything I didn't answer, make sure and leave them in the comment section below. If you've got questions for emergency water tanks, make sure and leave those below, or you can go to their website and email them directly. With that, I am done here today. Take care and prepare, everyone. We will talk to you all later.